for young entrepreneurs, let's say you can do 50% of your portfolio. What I do is 50% of your portfolio should go into high risk investment. Before you start investing, you look at different asset classes. The amount that you need to invest in bonds, because the risk is higher, you need more money.
So that's why I am passionate about the age brackets of 20, 30s, and 40s. Hello everyone, welcome back again. Chuka Nwachukwu here again. My last video we talked about risk, managing your risk as regard investment. I remember I did talk about diversification, portfolio management and all that, and I said, look, you know what, it's a video that should be done separately from from the page, because the topic is wide and then it's very important, and I want everybody to understand portfolio diversification because it's something that you need in order to survive in the investment space. So today I'm bringing back FAHAD again. FAHAD, welcome once again. Yeah,
always good to be here.
Yeah, so I said we need to come back.
Yes,
because I want this portfolio diversification to be a topic on its own, right? Because of how important it is to investment, and then of course how important it is to traders. Let me use the word traders now. Yeah. So can you, on a layman terms, dissect what portfolio diversification means?
Thank you very much, Chuka. Hello viewers, once again, it's always good to be here, good to see you, good to talk to you all and advise you on investments with Chuka. So portfolio diversification simply means investing in multiple things, right? Investing in not just one thing, but putting your money in different places such that you're going to earn returns from each outlet coming to you. So if I have let's say 1 million now, instead of investing my 1 million in one place, right, I'll rather invest it in so many places, right? I will spread my eggs. I won't put all my eggs in one basket. I will spread them out so that if one is not doing well, the other one will come up. If all are doing well, then extra positive for me.
Fantastic. In my own time, right, a couple of years ago when I was put through what portfolio diversification means, and I'm practically said, look, I mean, this is where the guys who came up with mutual fund concept.
Yes.
Okay. Because I mean, mutual fund is, we talked about mutual fund.
Yes. Yeah.
So investment. A pool of investment also help you to diversify your risk.
Yeah.
As well as investment.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, how does one diversify a portfolio?
Thank you very much, Chuka. So there are different ways by which you can, diversify your portfolio. One, you can invest in different geography, right? You can say, okay, I don't want to only invest in Nigeria. I want to invest some of my money in Nigeria. Companies. I want to invest some of my money in US companies. I want to invest some of my money in European countries, right? Chinese companies, and also that way you spread out, your risk, your country of risk, right? Or your geography of risk. Another way of investing is investing in different forms of investment, right? For example, you can invest in fixed income, right? Part of your money should go in fixed income, part should go in equity, part should go in, different kinds of investment that are available, right? Another thing is industry diversification. You can say, okay, I don't want all my money to be in one industry. I want part of my money to be in tech industry, right? I want some of my money to be in automobile industry. I want some of my money to be in the manufacturing industry, and so on and so forth, like that. You understand? So those are various forms as which you can diversify your portfolio.
So what are the benefits?
Number one benefit, right, of portfolio diversification is reduced risk. You reduce your risk. Instead of putting your money in, let's assume, let me give you an example, you want to invest in stock now, right? Instead of putting all your money in a particular stock, and if the stock does not do well, you will lose all your money. Instead, put it in stock A, right? Then take some of it also and invest in fixed income, like a backup. So that if the stock crashes, the fixed income will do well. Or if the fixed income does not pay you well, probably because of inflation, the stock is going to pay you, higher. You remember in one of our videos, you mentioned that stocks and fixed income, they're like opposite sides of that. So people take out money from fixed income into the stock market, from stock market into the fixed income market. One will always do well. Do you understand? So you diversify. You put also some in real estate. You understand? Real estate funds. You put some, but don't put your money in Ponzi. That's the only part you don't diversify. That's not diversification. You understand? that's outright greed, and because you see that takes us back to risk and returns, right? Where the risk is too much. They will promise you big returns in Ponzi.
Yeah.
But you know it is risky. The risk is much. So eventually you end up losing your money. Right? So yeah.
Part of what some of the people who invest in Ponzi, what they used to console themselves is that they said, we die only once. And then you die only once, and then you get duped, and then you feel it. Because you know you can't build something out of nothing. And that's why I always tell people, I mean, be wary of investment opportunity that is so good to be true. If someone is asking you to invest in a Ponzi scheme and you get 100% return, well, if the person is sure of the return, the person can probably take a loan, and
yes, there's no loan that will give you other business.
So you know, that also brings me to what we've talked about in one of our previous videos, where we talk about hedging your risk, right, and then at the same time, you know, putting money into different business, different investment, because the truth is, in the banking industry, for example, one of the components, major aspects of balance sheet management is actually portfolio management. Because it's important that your portfolio is healthy, right? And when I mean portfolio now, in the context of an investor now, right, your portfolio is your money, your cash. So you have to constantly keep
monitoring it.
Otherwise you run into problems. So if you want to advise a layman investor or somebody who doesn't know anything about investment, I know we talked about risk, and the person is asking about, you know, portfolio management. What advice would you give that person?
So you should know while you are diversifying your portfolio, what are the reasons that make someone wants to diversify their portfolio? The factors that we look at is, one, we look at the age right, of the investor, which I would explain in details. We look at the financial stability right, of the investor, which I will also explain in details. Now, talking about the age of the investor, it is a general rule of thumb that as you grow older, your risk appetite reduces. Your ability to take risk reduces. Right? So for young entrepreneurs, before you start investing, you look at different asset classes, right? You divide them. Okay, fixed income, lowest return, right? Low risk. Then you go to the moderate risk investments, like big company stocks, like SP 500 and so on, mutual funds, moderate stock. Then you look at the high ones, which are upcoming companies, stocks of upcoming companies, where you're going to make more money, but you know the risk is higher. So you divide it into low risk, moderate risk, high risk. Now, for people in their 20s, or let me say people that have more than 10 years before they can retire, right? So you know that you are still expecting more money to come in future for you, right? You're still working, so you can afford to lose money. Now you can invest more in high risk investments, and you know, let's say you can do 50% of your portfolio. What I do is 50% of your portfolio should go into high risk investment, 30% should go into medium risk investment, and 20% should go into low risk investment, because you have the risk appetite at that time. So when you have about, you know, less than 10 years to retire, you are in your 40s, in your 50s, right? You're close to retirement, then you start reducing your risk, right? You invest more in moderate, you know, risk, and you start thinking about pension. Thank you very much. You know, you start thinking about retirement. You understand? So that time you need more of fixed income, something that will be giving you money, you know, regularly,
stable
and stable. And then when you are now, you know, at the age of retirement, at that point you need 70% of your portfolio to be something that is liquid. Example, fixed income, cash, right? Something that you know you can easily, you know, access. You can be 60, 70, 80 and, you know, still be investing in the stock markets heavily, right? You're not Warren Buffett. You know? So at that point, right, you start thinking retirement. You start thinking, I need cash flow for several reasons, right? Health reasons, emergencies, and all of that. You understand? You need to have cash flow coming onto you, because you're no longer collecting salary.
Of course,
You understand? So that is a best form of diversifying your portfolio. Look at your age. Look at what you set out to achieve. at this my age currently, what I want to do is I want to make a lot of money. And how do I make a lot of money? I need to take more risk. Right? Then when I get older and I'm close to retirement, I know that I cannot afford to lose money.
Yeah.
Because old people, more responsibility. The older you get, the more responsibilities. You have children in school, you know, you yourself, your health, you have to monitor it very well. You are no longer expecting salary from anywhere because you have retired, and so on and so forth, right? So at that age, what you're going to monitor more is you are now starting to earn the benefit of your high risk in your 20s and your 30s, right? So you now have the benefit now, and you now, you know, bank on your cash flow. You know, your pension is coming in, then you have fixed income investment that is bringing in money, then you have available cash. You probably have a few real estate also, you know, that is giving you rent every month or every year, depending on the location and all of that. So that is in terms of age. In terms of your financial capability, someone who earns high and someone who earns low, the kind of investment that both of them are going to do will be definitely different.
Of course, yeah.
A person who earns low income cannot afford to risk all their money into high risk investments, but at the same time they need high risk investments in a bid to grow, you understand, their earnings, right? So as a result of that, your capability financially will determine if you are willing to take risk or not. You understand? Exactly. So that is why, if you notice, in terms of treasury bills and bonds, the amount that you need to invest in bonds, because the risk is higher, you need more money to invest in bonds compared to treasury bills, where the risk is lower, and you know, and the return is also lower.
You know, I keep going back to the video we made about 20, 30s and 40s. Now viewers can see the reason for that video.
Yes.
You know, because you know, one of the major problem most of retired, you know, folks have is the fact that someone worked for 35 years. Right, all throughout the service lifetime, they are not able to make any meaningful investment. They were not able to save, you know, and then 2 years before retirement is staring them in the face, and then they start running up and down. And that's why a lot of them, once they get their retirement benefit, they want to plug it into investments that they haven't done for the past 35 years. And you know, if you see the number of retired folks who have been duped, you know, because of
they want to take risk.
So that's why I am passionate about the age brackets of 20s, 30s, and 40s, because if you get it right within this age bracket, then your retirement is just you're just closing home. Yeah. So FAHAD, I want to thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate this.
Thank you, Chuka.
This your insight about portfolio diversification. Like I said earlier, we need to be able to plan early enough in order to enjoy retirement. You know, it cuts across all aspects of life, especially those in the civil service. All right, guys. Thank you once again. Till we meet again, this is Chuka Nwachukwu, your investment advisor. Bye-bye for now.